When we think about home defense, we think we have two options, to kill or to be killed. But for me, it was always a third option. I honestly believe it's better to prevent than to confront. And if all else fails, then it's time to confront. So first, let's talk about the prevention. First, I'd like to tell you my story why I started to think about prevention so much. When I was in high school, my parents used to have a jewelry shop in LA downtown. And naturally, I worked there to help my mom and dad out. And one day, this guy came into the shop asking my mom to show him 4 or 5 thick gold chains. And my mom didn't think much about it. She got it out of the case and she was showing it to him. And then I heard my mom scream and I looked out and he was running out the door with a chain in his hand and I started chasing him. And I was in a cross-country team, so I was very confident that I would have no problem catching up to a thug on the street. And as he was running down the Broadway, I was screaming for anybody to stop him. But just like when Moses parted the Red Sea, everybody stood aside, just like a marathon, and the race was on. And just when I was about to catch up with him, he would throw a gold chain behind his back. And I would stop, grab a gold chain again, stuff it in my pocket, and start chasing again. And this went for quite a while. And he threw like 4 or 5 chains. I picked them all up, keep chasing him. And all of a sudden, he made a sharp turn into an alley. I didn't think twice about it. I chased him down. And I was thinking this is where I was going to catch him. But out of nowhere, this homeless guy behind the trash dump jumped out. And then he was flashing his badge, screaming LAPD. And I was so relieved and so happy. But that officer was really angry at me. He told me, "Kid, you never chase down the thugs." And he showed me a small pistol that was carried by the criminal and said, "You are so lucky today because when you chase somebody into an alley, either you get shot or you got a piece in your pants." That's when I realized this is bad. I need to protect myself. And then I started thinking stupid. Let me show you how young and stupid I was. And this is about the age when that happened. You could see how young and stupid I am. I have a loaded gun. You could see the bullet with my finger in the trigger. Obviously, the hammer wasn't cocked. And I was way overconfident of myself. Again, this is just to show you how stupid I was. So I had that Colt 1911 in the drawer right next to cash box. And it was loaded and ready to go. And some time passed and we had somebody walking into the shop and he had a small brown paper bag but had something heavy inside like a metal. So when he approached my mom and he was asking to see some really nice diamond rings. And he asked my mom to pull the whole tray out so he could actually see which one he liked. And right there, I could see my mom was getting a little nervous and I was getting a little nervous. And when he put that bag on the counter so he could see the rings, it sounded like it was a metal, like a small pistol. At this point, my heart started racing really fast and I could see that my mom was getting very nervous as well. And I was standing behind him so he couldn't see me. And I had my Colt 45 out and then I asked myself, if things goes bad, can I really shoot him? And my heart was pounding so fast, I couldn't think straight. And then in that moment, I told myself, I have to, because I have to save my mom. And I decided to go for a headshot. And in my head, I imagined what mess I'm gonna make because as a hunter, I know what gun can do. And in that split second, what felt like eternal, a third option came to my mind. I told myself, let's give him a chance. Even though my 1911 was loaded, I actually worked the slide one more time. As soon as he heard that, he ran out of the shop so fast, I didn't even see him grabbing his bag, but he grabbed his bag, ran out of the shop like a bat out of hell. That's when I realized if I had to, I would have shot him to save ourselves. But I was so glad I thought of that third option. When I was living in LA in high school, I even had a friend who had both of their parents shot at their liquor store. And he lost both parents. Luckily, he got shot, but he survived. So I thought of a lot of ways I could protect myself, but at the same time, how to prevent the situation. And I was watching a documentary about criminals behind the bars, and they were asking a lot of questions, and this is what I picked up. They asked them, what do you fear the most? And surprisingly, their answer wasn't the cops. They were most afraid of nervous victims with guns, who's willing to kill to survive, or to save their loved ones. And they were saying they never start out thinking about killing someone, but really looking for an easy score to make some money. And what they said was really interesting. They said people who have nothing to lose, like themselves, don't really want to risk their life for it. But people who has everything to lose, like their family, like their loved ones, are willing to kill. So if they see any signs of danger, they're the first one to run out the door, unlike the movie where they're trying to kill you no matter what. And they also asked them, what is the best scenario? What is jackpot for you? And they say it was easy access to house, like unlocked doors or unlocked windows, and then going into the house, finding every bedroom doors unlocked. And this is where everything goes wrong. Now if the doors are unlocked, they could come into your room very quietly, point the gun at you or a knife, and have whole family gather into one room where they have 100% control. And this is where the bad things happen. But what was interesting was that if the door was locked, they said they will not attempt to open the door because they're not sure what's behind the door. Somebody might have a gun pointing at them or already calling 911. So they will not try to force or knock the door open, but simply they will grab what they can and just get out as soon as possible. And they also asked them, if you know somebody was carrying cash, but you could clearly see he was packing a pistol, will you fight with him to take the money? And they said no way. They would not risk their life or money, but actually look for easier score. They also asked them what would be the easiest score. Anybody with the earphone on would become a target because they can't really hear what's going on or they're not aware of their surroundings. And people with expensive cars tend to park their car far away so they won't get their car damaged. But that's also a bad idea. You want to park your car where it's bright and where there's a lot of people. And for them, the easy target is good guys. They will simply ask for help on the street or for direction. And if somebody cooperates really nicely, then all of a sudden you could become a victim. Now let's talk about 5 steps of prevention. Step number 1, yep, you guessed it. Lock your doors, lock your windows, and have your whole family lock their own bedroom door at night. Now this is where I have problem with my wife. When the kids are young, my wife would actually prefer to have the door open so the kids could come at night if they need help or whatever. It took me a little while to convince my wife that when the kids need help, they will come and knock the door. Step number 2, spend a little money on a loud alarm system. I paid $37 for this, and this comes with 2 motion detections, and it's loud. Now, when it's just me and my wife, we actually have the alarm set when we go to bed. So if there's anybody moving outside, this is gonna go off. And trust me, they're not gonna hang around. They're gonna run like hell. Also, when we're going out, I set the alarm on. And coming home, if I feel like there's somebody in the house, instead of carrying my gun and trying to clear rooms, I would just push the button and it's gonna clear the whole house. Now, let's say you're sleeping in your bed and you heard something downstairs. What most people do is this: shh, be quiet. And they grab their gun and they try to find the intruder themselves. Who do you think is going to get shot first? Now, most houses, they have the bedrooms upstairs, and when the intruders are downstairs, they could hear you walking out, and they would have a first shot before you get yours. So when you think you heard something, don't go shh. Instead, be really loud. Scream and shout and say, I call 911, I got gun. And you might feel it's kind of stupid because you're kind of screaming by yourself, but who cares? Just scream and make a lot of noise. Do you think they're gonna scream and shout and fight with you, or you think they're gonna run out of the house? Yep, they're gonna run out. Now, if you know they're in the house, first thing you do is you call 911 and have your gun ready. But do not stand in front of the door because you could get shot through the door. And instead of confronting them, stay in your room, make a lot of noise, and buy some time. Because the criminals are the one who's fighting against time. And if they know this is not going to be a fast job, they're just gonna get out of there. Now, if you've taken every step that I told you, I could almost guarantee you won't have to confront the intruders. But if everything fails, and you have to protect yourself, now we have to talk about what is the best home defense gun. And my choice is 20 or 12 gauge buckshots. There's a good reason why I picked the buckshot. Now, when I was deer hunting in wildlife refuge, the deers that I shot with a slug would still run 20-30 yards. But when I hit it with a buckshot, they all fell on the spot. So if you have to protect yourself, you want to make sure you put them down with your first shot. But something that's not a high power caliber, so you won't penetrate to the walls, maybe hit one of your family or even your neighbor. And buckshot is the answer. And my second choice is 38 Special. 38 Special, I did a penetration test. It's got plenty of stopping power, but doesn't have too much penetration and has less chance of hurting your family. And the third choice, which I don't have, would be a 9mm hollow point. 9mm full metal jacket has a very good penetration. So that might be a little bit too much, but I think hollow point would be great, where it has more stopping power, but less chance of hurting your family as well. I also noticed a lot of people have concealed carry permit, but I think some people has a wrong conception. In Virginia, legally you could do open carry, or you could get a permit for a concealed carry. Now, if you're a shop owner, and during the closing time, you know you're carrying a cash or whatever, it gets you a little bit nervous, or if you're going to somewhere where you don't feel very comfortable, you don't want to conceal your gun. You want to expose it. Let every thugs know you're carrying, and I guarantee you, they're not going to start a gunfight. They're going to look for another easy score. But if you're going about your everyday life and you don't want to open carry where you get other people nervous, you do want to conceal it. Another thing is, if you're a shop owner and during the closing time, if you're concealing your gun, the bad guy's going to think, well, this is going to be an easy score. and they're gonna come approaching you with their guns drawn. Now at this point, if you're trying to draw a gun, they're gonna shoot you because they want to save their lives. I really hope that you or your family don't have to confront the bad guys. But if you take the proper precaution and prevention steps, you will never have to. Okay, this was my personal advice and my personal prevention steps, which I share with all my families and my friends. And if you have a better idea, let me know. It's always better to prevent than to confront. One thing that I realized is that criminals are not killing craving cycles. They're actually scared pathetics looking for easy score. And they're more scared of you than you're of them.